We're on board with Scott Sharp then for the first race here of the weekend for Stock Cats around the Silverstone International Track. We go racing there. It's quite a good start for Scott Sharp, and from the car in front, that's Steve Housen who's rocketed off the line. He's gained at least one row already. Paul Jarvis not the best start. We work his way past him as well as Steve Housen continues to go right around the outside. That's Nathan Saunders who's made an awful start from the front row of the grid. He must be down for about 6th or 7th. He might out very wide far corner, so you can head on to the brakes. Heavy braking zone here in the village, and it's side by side for the lead between Tom Bell and Shane Deegan's trying to get the better of him. They're side by side as Lee Deegan gets squeezed off the circuit there by Patrick Fletcher, and here comes Steve Housen getting past them all as they head through the link. Here Nathan Saunders back on the inside. He uses a grass as well in there. Lee Deegan now side by side with Scott Sharp. He's falling down, but who is leading? Because of the side by side between Shane Deegan and Tom Bell. Tom Bell leads a championship into this weekend, and Nathan Saunders now looking on the inside of Steve Housen, but it is Bell that leads. In seconds Deegan, third Patrick Fletcher, and Nathan Saunders and Steve Housen going side by side there as well. Paul Jarvis and Lee Deegan. There's contact between the two of them. Lee Deegan bouncing over the grass and over the curb in there. He's going to drop right to the back of the pack after that contact there with Paul Jarvis. So he turns the circuit at Club Corner there. Quite a bit of rubbing throughout the pack there on that first lap. Right, let's have a look at that then. On board with Paul Jarvis. Deegan's the inside, run out wide. Paul Jarvis alongside him heading down to the road here. Slightest bit of contact there, but right at the wrong time. Lee Deegan's car then spun out of control. Steve Housen's car, just see that bit of contact right in the wrong place, under the brake in there, and spearing Lee Deegan's car out of control. You can see in front as well, Steve Housen and Nathan Saunders, they're rubbing on each other as well. Similar situation, I think, there to the Paul Jarvis and Lee Deegan incident. Car there bouncing back onto the circuit as it goes over those sausage dog curbs. The top two though, they're getting away, Tom Bell and Shane Deegan. Two of the 6 grass track racers, and here Nathan Saunders is another of the next grass track racer, but here comes Patrick Fletcher trying to get back ahead of him. The two cars make contact, they go through the battle, and that's going to have Steve Housen to perhaps get third position. Yes, that's the highest he's been for a long time in Stock Catch. Scott Sharp also, he's going through the field with Steve Housen, he's right behind him there, and now the Clio's making their way through the pack. Local man Mark Armstrong in the Bucks Automotive hire car. He's the first of his Clio 182s. They start 10 seconds behind the main Stock Cat field, remember. And into the pit lane comes Martin Ward. He qualified second of the stock of the Clio Sport 182s, but obviously a problem there for him. He's making his way down the pit road and into retirement. On board we can go with Paul Jarvis, who's fighting back up on the inside of Scott Sharp. He's through here into village. He's started further back. He's a lot of road down the exit of the corner. He's up to 5th then ahead of Scott Sharp. Doesn't break Nathan Saunders battling away with Steve Housen for 3rd and 4th place. The top two, Tom Bell and Shane Deegan, already got a couple of seconds on the rest of the pack. They can fight amongst themselves now. 13 minutes plus 1 lap for this race is, and side by side as Saunders goes around the outside as Steve Housen, he comes back across there. Bit of contact between the two cars, more rubbing going on here at Silverstone in Stock Cat. Steve Housen trying to fly back around the outside into the Vale. Can't do anything about it. That's going to let Paul Jarvis, Scott Sharp, Bill Wright, and it's Trevor Gregory in there as well to close them in. Side by side with Andrew Ford on the inside, he locks up. He gets that place done. All the Clios in here. This is the biggest grid of Clios we've had this year. 6 cars out there. Mark Armstrong the best of them. Seeing there was Kevin Condon and Ben Siebold, I think. Side by side here. There's Paul Jarvis up on the inside. Oh, but the Housen brakes a bit late perhaps than he wanted to. He said he better Scott Sharp, but Paul Jarvis does find a way past. Originally the light Jarvis was going to go through, then went the Housen a bit, but then he out-braked himself for Vale. And that allowed him through. Now Scott Sharp trying to come up alongside Powson as they head their way down the hanger straight and down towards Stoke Corner. Back into the view of our camera on the ground, and it's Tom Bell we see on it now ahead of Shane Deegan. Third Saunders, then Paul Jarvis with this queue of cars behind him. Have to find a way past Steve Powson. Now Phil Wright trying to get past Scott Sharp, and in there as well that's Trevor Gregory. He was out in a Clio yesterday and tested, and ended up in the pit wall, and that's damaged, so he's back in the Saxo today. His dad Bill Gregory is out in Matt Fincham's Clio. You can see the 77 Clio there, that's Andrew Harding. He used to do quite a bit of stock catch racing over the last few years, moving over to the Clio though this weekend. On board we go once again with Scott Sharp. He's following Steve Powson as we head our way through Village then. Powson falls over the white line there. Talk this weekend that going into next year the four wheels over the white line will be much tighter policed than previously. Anyway, down the hanger straight and nose to tail underneath the bridge down to Stoke Corner, and out of Stoke already are your leaders then, Tom Bell and Shane Deegan. Shane Deegan perhaps getting a little bit closer to Tom Bell. Third is Saunders, Paul Jarvis closing him in. And Powson and Sharp back behind. Mark Armstrong now in the best of the Clio. He's got ahead of Trevor Gregory. Where's the next Clio? So much further back. Lee Deegan just going into bail there on his recovery drive. Working out here where the second of the Clios. There is Andrew Harding in the second of the Clios. And Benny Seibold in third. And Bill Gregory, I think, in fourth. No, see, Bill Gregory just behind Kevin Condon, I think. They're in fourth and fifth. The Clios, of course, Martin Ward out of the race after pitting. Should have been 7 cars out in the Clio this weekend, so that game's stronger and stronger. More for Donington and Cadwell, which are the last 2 meetings of the season. Down to Village then, it's Steve Powson still ahead of Scott Sharp. Down a gear, down another goes Sharp then, as we turn through Village then. And then through this link section of the track, as Steve Powson gets very sideways there on the exit of the corner. He held on to that nicely, having to defend a bit though as they go back onto the hanger straight. Scott Sharp now really pushing to try and find a way past Powson. They go down the hanger straight now, they're right in the slipstream. It's Scott Sharp. Meanwhile at the front, Tom Bell perhaps trying to break away from Shane Deegan then. He's getting very close to going falls over the line there, isn't he? Saunders really being clawed in now by Paul Jarvis. It's a strong drive from Jarvis. Meanwhile, here comes Armstrong. He's already passed Bill Wright. Now he's going to go up on the inside of Scott Sharp. This is going to get the tight on the apex of Vale. Round the outside, Scott Sharp held on ahead of Mark Armstrong there, but the power of the Clio is going to come. Oh, he's off the inside of Club. He's already got it done then. Didn't even wait for the start line. More battling down the path. This is Andrew Thorpe on the inside. He races in classic stock catch usually. He's having a good battle there with Steve Noble. Now Noble's going to try and come back, possibly, at the 68 car of Andrew Thorpe, and that's Mr. Peugeot 106 battle, isn't it? So Paul Jarvis now onto the tail of Nathan Saunders. This is a battle for the final podium position. So they go downhill here. Getting very close to the back. Well, Saunders carries so much speed through the corner. That was really quite impressive from Nathan Saunders there. Because it looked like Jarvis was going to be quicker later on the brakes, but Nathan Saunders got it round the corner quicker. So down the hanger straight then, and into Stowe. See Saunders just broke away a bit from all that. So onto the brakes they go there, and he completely misses the apex there, but comes back late, so that's a different line there. He goes for a late apex compared to an early apex that Paul Jarvis went for. Mark Armstrong there using a lot of additional road on the exit of Stowe, looking up there. Paul Jarvis is really getting onto the back now of Nathan Saunders. So through Club Corner they go to complete yet another lap of this stock catch race. Great battling throughout the field, and now a good run out the corner of Paul Jarvis. He's looking in spirit though, because that Clio is coming quickly. Mark Armstrong up on the inside as they head into Abbey then, and he's going to be stuck right on the apex of Paul Jarvis, and not perhaps being able to carry his full speed. Abbey maybe not the best place to overtake when you've got so much more powerful car as Mark Armstrong has. He sort of had no other choice than to go up on the inside there. So what that has done is given Nathan Saunders a Clio's gap to Paul Jarvis now, so he doesn't have to worry about defending for the next few corners. Now Paul Jarvis knows this is an important run out of the corner for him as Armstrong goes forwards over the white line yet again, but he's now going to be able to power past Nathan Saunders in that 2-litre Clio 182 engine compared to the 1600 for the Saxos in Stock Catch. Top two then, they've got away, they're in their own race now. Tom Bell with a bit of a gap to Shane Deegan, so that's what's about of a third in Stock Catch. Armstrong third overall, but it's Nathan Saunders. He flings the car into Vale there. He's in third overall, ahead of Paul Jarvis. It's Steve Howson fifth, the battle for sixth between the number 34 car Scott Sharp at 63 Phil. Right then Trevor Gregory now has been closed in by Lee Deegan. Remember Lee Deegan had that big spin on the first lap with the contact with Paul Jarvis. He's had a great comeback drive though to work his way up to what at the moment is 9th in Stock Catch. He'll try and get 8th off of Trevor Gregory though. So let's see how that goes. Not long to go now. The 13 minutes plus 1 lap. We might get 2 more laps in, possibly, before the last lap board goes out. Nathan Saunders slides his car into Vale there. And they head over that brow, then down the hill. They link back up onto the Grand Prix circuit. That chapel there. So nose to tail here. Saunders goes one way, then the other. Weaving a bit down the straight here. You see, that's going to go defensive, decided against him. Let's probably allow Paul Jarvis just to claw his way onto the tail of Nathan Saunders out. They're absolutely nose to toe. Saunders drifts out as the car slides. Paul Jarvis now up alongside the two cars, absolutely side by side. They made contact there. Round goes Nathan Saunders, almost back into the path of Paul Jarvis. That's allowed Steve Howland up into third position. Since he returned to Stock Catch in 2011, Howland had not been on the podium. This is his best chance. He's up to third. But let's have a look at what happened here. Paul Jarvis up alongside, the two of them hitting door mirrors, hitting panels, and then eventually with Paul Jarvis' car slightly out of control, tap Nathan Saunders into that spin. So up to third for Steve Howland, that's allowed. You can see there the two cars making contact down towards the Vale, and when Paul Jarvis' car hit the grass there, the car went to the inside, which then tapped Nathan Saunders into that spin. I mean, quite a bit of contact in this Stock Catch race. What have we got left? 2 laps. We're on the penultimate lap of the race now, and Mark Armstrong is going to try and win the overall race. This higher Clio was won the race overall at Snepton with Trevor Gregory at the wheel. Can he find a way past Tom Bell? Surely you'd have to say he will. The car's a lot faster. Tom Bell, though, here he worried about, he's winning the Stock Catch part of the race. Battle for third in Stock Catch. Steve Howson and Paul Jarvis, and Scott Sharp and Phil Wright battle over fifth. So they head their way through Club Corner now then and start their final lap of the race. It's to Nathan Saunders and Lee Deegan now, who's already got ahead of Trevor Gregory. Gregory now going to come under pressure from Tim Broughton, who's in 10th. Then Howson slides his car through Abbey there. Now down towards Village. Can Paul Jarvis find a way through there onto the brakes into the corner there? Jarvis using a bit more road and power. Perhaps didn't give him the best line for that left-hand flick. So now Powell just press to break away a bit, and Jarvis runs out wide there, and that's allowed Powell to break away. These two, best part 10 seconds behind the race leaders. Mark Armstrong's going to win the race overall, but more importantly, Tom Bell is going to extend his lead in the Stock Catch Championship. Shane Deegan going to move his way up to second after his brothers Poor race after the contact earlier on. It's been a really good, impressive drive from Lee Deegan to work his way back through. Steve Housen's going to get his first podium since his return to Stock Catch, here finishing third. In fourth, that'll be the car of Paul Jarvis. In fifth will be Scott Sharp. Yes, he's just about to hold on to his position ahead of Phil Wright. And Nathan Saunders in seventh after his spin. In eighth, Lee Deegan after his spin. Both in since contact with Paul Jarvis. Ninth place, that go to Trevor Gregory in Stock Catch, Terry Bowden, Ben Seabold, he'll be second in the Clios, have Kevin Condon and Bill Gregory. Andrew Harding had a problem somewhere, he dropped right to the back and fifth in the Clios.